All right, welcome back to the UJ Chevrolet pregame show. Todd Morris with you here on the Bulldog Radio Network. It's time to sit down with UMS-Wright head football coach Sam Williams for our pregame interview. And Coach, on the road last week for our final regular season game of the year, tough loss to an undefeated St. Michael team, 25-20. I know everybody was pretty heartbroken after that one.
Yeah, they were. But I think, one thing the kids have done a good job of is kind of keeping things in perspective and how they played. I think they were proud of how they played and knew it just came down to those, those big moments where you have to finish. You get it to the point where you want it. You kind of play the game to the opposite script, kind of like what I said in the pregame interview with the guys on the Alabama TV network or public TV network. Is like, I said, this is one of those games that are probably going to be in a 2020 game because everybody thinks it's going to be a shootout, and you kind of turn it into that. And I thought we did a good job of kind of playing the script to ours. The kids were proud of that. We kind of knew what we had to do, make it a physical game and kind of drag it out. But then, not finishing is kind of been the story of it. And, that's what we've got to figure out as we go into the playoffs. What's going wrong there?
I know you sit down and you look at that game and even go back to the St. Paul's game. We start the season, end the season with really tough losses, and you look at it and you say, you could probably go back and say, well, there's a million different little things here and there that we could have done in those games. Those results would have been differently. Last week, you kind of point to early in the game, field goals, penalties, as opposed to touchdowns and continuing out those drives.
100%. Yeah. And I mean, it's, it's like I always tell the kids, there's no secret sauce to it. You know what I mean? Like, you can sit here and talk about it, but at the end of the day, you just have to execute in those moments. We had some opportunities to do that and didn't do it. And, we've got to put them as a staff, we got to put them in a little better position at different points in time. And, we got to do a better job of coaching it so that whenever we get those plays, we've talked about the exact things that we get. But that's the hard thing about football. You don't know exactly what you're going to get. You know what I mean? So you have to give them a lot of options and a lot of thoughts, and then you have to hope that those things, kind of manifest in the right way in the game.
And there's 11 players on the other side of the ball that can do something different every time.
Yeah, and a lot of times if they're pretty good, it makes things tough. So,
but, going into the game, there was, the hype on St. Michael quarterback Gunnar Rivers. When you look at the competition, you were kind of iffy about it, but he kind of proved it. It's a little for real, but we were able to put some pressure on him and do some things he hadn't seen all year. 4 turnovers. I was pretty proud of the defense's effort.
I was super proud of their effort, and that was the thing. I think we kind of knew, and, you go into games like that and you're like, all right, well, stops are going to be hard to come by just because they have some guys they're going to be able to convert on some big downs. You're going to have to cut down some chunk plays like we talked about. But at the end of the day, we got our stops from turnovers, forcing those turnovers because he didn't give us a whole lot. He gave us the one at the end of the game where he didn't see Thomas DeLong. We're playing kind of like what people would used to call Tampa 2. Now everybody just lines up in a 3-high safety. But at the end of the day, he didn't see that one. But the rest of them, our kids just took. They went out there and took them. And that's a mindset. I think our defense, I think we're plus 10 on the year turnover margin-wise. So, our defense has been great all year at forcing turnovers. And we did a good job of taking care of the football and offense. And I think that was big in keeping us in the game.
Yeah. All right, well, let's put that one behind us. Second season, as I like to call it, starts this week. Everybody's 0-0 going into this week, and we head to Andalusia to face a 7-3 Andalusia team really for the 22nd time since 2000, if you think
crazy
about that. It's 2025. We played them 20. This will be the 22nd time. Beat them 7-6 last year. I don't know if that means anything to you. What do you see in Andalusia right now?
Yeah, they look a lot different than they did last year. They're extremely athletic on defense. I've watched a bunch of the old games. They're a lot more athletic right now than they have been. Really big up front on defense, and really well coached. They do a lot of different things. They can present some problems over there just with how much they move and how you don't get the same picture all the time. And then offensively, they're pretty much what they've been. They're going to hang their hat on a couple of things. You have to stop them. You have to want to line up and play another down against these guys. And they're not going to beat themselves. It's the classic, we're going to let you make a mistake. We're going to be really physical. We're going to take care of the football. We're going to tackle. And so it'll be interesting. But, it's like we've talked about all year, whether it's on or off camera, it's kind of hard to compare year to year just because it's so different, different teams. And that's what, I've kind of been guarded with the kids this week. We've got a really good record against Andalusia, but you don't get that record by looking at the ones before. You know what I mean? You got to go out there and win the game that's in front of you and the game that's presented to you.
And talk about the preparation for this week compared to last week. Completely different offense for our defense. defense to prepare for this week. Last week it was, we were trying to stop the passing game. This week it's basically the running game. Here it is. It's going to come right at you.
Yeah, and if you look at this year and what we've done against teams that have been predominantly one-dimensional, we've played really well against those teams, particularly against teams that want to run the football. So our kids are excited about that. They accepted that. They're going to accept that challenge, and I feel really good about that side of the football. It comes down to, when you look at the keys to the game on that side, it's, it comes down to don't let them get that explosive play. They're going to have something that they're going to try to generate an explosive play down the field, and you just can't let 23 get loose. You can't let him get down the field. If we can take care of that, stop the run, I think it'll be tough sledding for them.
The other thing you look at in a game like this, when you're facing a team that's going to run the ball, it really comes down to possessions. And when the ones you get, you have to be able to capitalize on. And there's going to be very few in a game like this, I think, going into it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. And I think, a big thing for us just stylistically is make them chase, right? So, I mean, we take football a lot. I would bet whatever you want to that Coach Taylor's going to be a defer guy. So can you score on the first possession and can you play from 7 ahead? You know what I mean? And I think that's been our template all year. When we've done that, we've played really well when we're not chasing the game. And especially when you're playing a team that wants to run the ball first, can they stay patient if they're down 7, 10, 14, whatever it is? And so that's an important part of this game, extending the possessions out, maybe making them get a little bit off their game script, because if you allow them to play from the front, if you allow them to control the ball, then it is going to be a really short game with very few possessions.
Last week was a very physical game. How are we health-wise coming into the playoffs?
Yeah, we're great. I thought we came out really good. I think St. Michael's kind of got banged up a little bit. I thought we came out really well. We've saved a lot of that, the two-way stuff. I think we've done a good job with load management all year, just taking care of guys. But now it's time to just cut them loose and let them roll. And I thought they did a good job of managing that last week. Still maintaining the defensive intensity, even coming over and taking some offensive snaps. So as we go into Friday night, we're in good shape.
So we'll expect to see Perry and Kaplan in the backfield again this week, I would assume, because that turned out to be a momentum changer for last week.
And, I mean, it's one of those deals, you make decisions as a head coach. At the beginning of the year, we made a decision to be really good on defense. That's what we wanted to do personnel-wise. You think about Andrew Cook, he would probably come over there and be one of our better offensive linemen, but he's just a dude in the middle of the line. And so, we're going to still play great defense. And, like I've said, we've moved the ball all year. Our biggest thing, we have to find a way to finish drives.
Right.
It's great to have a great field goal kicker. Kingston's been an absolute weapon, but to win playoff games, you got to punch those balls in.
I agree with you 100%. All right, so now this week we say good luck, and hopefully we're doing this again next week. It's just, it's kind of that finality of it. It could be over, but I hope it's not. Hopefully we're again doing this again next week. We appreciate it, and good luck to you.
Yep, thanks, Todd.
All right, that's UMS-Wright head football coach Sam Williams joining us here on the UJ Chevrolet pregame show. Stick around. We'll be back with the opening kickoff in just a minute. You're listening to the Bulldog Radio Network here on Sports Talk 99.5 Mobile, an iHeart radio station.